Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at measurement and the metric system. So let's start by talking about what the metric system is. Quite simply, the metric system is a set of units used to measure different properties. Metric system is a set of units used to measure different properties. And for our class, we're going to be focusing on 5 different types of measurement. It's length, area, volume, try that again, volume, mass, and density. Scientists use the metric system because each new unit is a multiple of 10. So when we're going between units or different sizes of units, everything is either multiplied by or divided by 10. And this is a lot simpler than the imperial system that we use in the United States, where if you look at units of length, we might start with an inch. And then we would multiply that by 12 to get a foot because there's 12 inches in a foot. And then we'd multiply that by 3 to get to a yard, and then by 1,760 to get to a mile. So there's no real set multiplication, whereas in the metric system, you just keep multiplying by 10, and it's much more simple. So for our class, you're also going to need to know 3 prefixes. The first is kilo, and kilo means 1,000 times bigger. So if I have a gram and a kilogram, the kilogram will weigh 1,000 times more than the gram. The second prefix is centi, and centi means 100 times less, 1 divided by 100, so 100 times less, 100 times smaller. So if you had a gram and you also had a centigram, the gram would be 100 times bigger than the centigram. And the last one is a milli, which stands for 1,000 times smaller. 1,000 times smaller. The first property or the first type of measurement that we're going to be looking at is length. And length measures how long something is. And in the metric system, the base unit of length is a meter. We wanted to keep applying those prefixes that we just talked about. The meter is the base unit, so a kilometer would be 1,000 times longer than a meter. A centimeter would be 100 times smaller than a meter, and a millimeter would be 1,000 times smaller than a meter. So on a meter stick, you would have 100 centimeters and 1,000 millimeters because they are 100 times and 1,000 times smaller, respectively. The next type of measurement that we're going to be looking at is area, and this follows length nicely because it's just 2 different lengths. So area is a measurement of how much space a flat object takes up. And since there's 2 lengths, right, there's a length on this side and this side, the area is meters squared. And it would be written like this, meters squared. You can calculate the area by multiplying 2 lengths together. And we name the second length to the term width to keep different sides separate. So if we wanted to say that the long side, the length, is 10 centimeters long, and the width, the shorter side, is 5 centimeters long, area would equal length times width, which equals 10 centimeters times 5 centimeters, which equals 50 centimeters squared. The way I remember the 2 is this is a two-dimensional object, so there is a 2 after the centimeters. The next type of measurement that we're going to be looking at is volume, which is just adding a third element to a shape. So length is a line, area is a flat square or rectangle, and you can think of volume as three-dimensional like a cube or a rectangular prism. So volume is the amount of space a three-dimensional, a 3D object takes up, and the base unit for volume is meters cubed, written like this, M3. We're adding a third length, so it's meters cubed. We can also measure liquid volume, and that has a base unit of a liter. So if we're measuring liquids, that has a different unit than measuring something that is solid. Again, there's a formula for calculating volume. V equals length times width times height. So let's say the length is 3 centimeters, the width is 5 centimeters, and the height is 10 centimeters. Well, length times width times height would be 3 centimeters times 5 centimeters times 10 centimeters. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 times 10 equals 150 centimeters cubed. So that's how we would calculate the volume of a cube. If you were using a graduated cylinder to measure liquid volume, you would just look for the level that the water is at and then read the labeled number. So using a graduated cylinder is a little bit easier because there's no calculations to make. You just have to get down at eye level and look to see how full it is. The next type of measurement we're going to look at is mass. And mass is nice because mass is just the measurement of the amount of matter, or really stuff, in an object. So how much stuff is there in an object? We often weigh that with a scale, but weight incorporates gravity as well. But mass is just how much stuff there is, and the base unit for mass is actually the kilogram. Kilogram. A kilogram is a little over 2 pounds if you're more used to the imperial system here in the United States. Our last type of measurement in this set of notes is density. And density is just a little bit tricky because it combines volume and mass. So density is how much mass is in a certain amount of volume. And the formula for that is mass divided by volume. So here's two identical cubes. Let's say the one on the left has a mass of 100 grams and a volume of 50 centimeters cubed. The density would be the mass divided by the volume. So we would have 100 divided by 50, and that would come out to be 2 grams per centimeter cubed. 2 grams per centimeter cubed. If the cube on the right had a mass of 50 grams, so that's the mass, and a volume of 50 centimeters cubed, we'll say they're the exact same size, well, we would again have mass, 50 grams, divided by volume, which is going to be 50 divided by 50, or 1 gram per centimeter cubed. So in this scenario, the cube on the left would be twice as dense as the cube on the right because there is twice as much mass and the same amount of volume. That is it for our notes on density, not the unit, just the notes. You're going to have a lot of practice with calculating volume and calculating densities. Those are probably the two trickiest things from this unit. But again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Other than that, have a great rest of your day.